Apologies to Andy, because I know you were just doing your job and I didn't mean to disrupt you. But this party needs to have a debate, and the platform are attempting to rig the discussion by not allowing those who oppose the rule changes to come up here and make the arguments, because they know that they don't have responses to our arguments. And the package going forth will gerrymander the NEC and allow for the decision made at the weekend to be vetoed by parliamentarians who are not accountable to this movement.
That was a very angry Comrade Max Shanley, who is joining me today. What's up? So, yeah, that's Wagwan. That was delivered at the 2016. So you're a former Labour functionary.
Well, I wasn't a Labour functionary. I was an elected representative of the youth. I was attending that conference that year as delegate for Young Labour with Zara Sultana. Us two were the delegates that year. Representing what was then 100,000 young members. So we had a sizable vote between the pair of us.
Okay. So you had some clout.
Yeah. 100,000 people was a lot. It was like 1 in 5 party members at the time.
That's about as big as DSA is over here, and just like a wing of your at the time organization was the size of my whole organization. I'm quite jealous. So, in case people couldn't tell by your accent, you are from the UK. I'm sorry for assuming that you're from an entirely different part of the country. See, like the thing with Americans is that you all are better at like marking and doing American accents than we are British accents. Like all we do is just like, oh, well, yeah, you all sound like that. Or we think you all sound posh. But like there's actually a remarkable amount of accent and linguistic diversity on this very small island.
Yeah, you can drive 40 minutes in any direction, maybe an hour. I think 40 is probably a little bit too little. But you could go 40 miles, for example, and you'll find people talking a completely different way to the people in 40 miles in the other direction. And yeah, no, it's a strange place. People are quite parochial.
Yeah, parochial. Okay, so why are you British? Like, I have nothing.
Well, why are you basically? Why are you British? So I was born here. That's why. Accident birth. Accident. I'm a bit of a British mutt. My family's from all over the island, and slightly beyond, going way back in Ireland. Yeah, that's where the Shanley comes from.
Yeah, I was about to say that's. I was about to say that's an Irish thing.
Yeah, that's an Irish surname. But there's very few people who have it spelt the way my family spell it. There's like 200 of us. But oddly, the name Shanley has like traveled over the world to Iran, where it's apparently apparently it's a really popular girl's name. And it has like the exact same meaning. So like a few years ago, a friend of mine was at like an international trade union conference or whatever, and she was sat next to this woman, and she said to her, I'm what's your name? And she said, oh, my name's Shanley, right? And she was like, oh, I know a Shanley. And the Iranian woman assumed that I was a girl, at which point she said, no, it's his surname. And then I looked it up, and it's got the exact same meaning, which is hero.
You are definitely
Iranian.
That is fascinating. I mean, if you trace it, like if you trace English and Farsi, Persian back far enough, I mean, they're both Indo-European languages. So Yeah. Uh, and I learned that Sanskrit is also like it's basically the easternmost Indo-European language, if I recall correctly. So the comrade that I was talking to, like he was reciting the numbers in the language, and I'm like, holy shit! But yeah, it's weird. So your party, it's the talk of the Imperial Core left. It's literally called. It's not just Max's party. It's your party,
I
your
know it's
thing.
fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's a lot more. I guess it's a lot better than I don't know the Democratic Socialist Front for the foundation of a republic in the British Isle. So, yeah, I mean, it's like the thing with like choosing names that a lot of people forget that like it has to be punchy. It has to be like easy to turn into an acronym.
The unelected leadership basically forced the name Your Party onto the party. So there were various alternatives, one of which was the one that Tsar put forward, which was for the party to be called the Left Party. But we've got a party in this country that's registered with the Electoral Commission called Left Unity. And unless Left Unity had been willing to deregister, then the Left Party couldn't be registered. No. They were up for it. They were up for just dissolving and, coming into the new party and whatnot. But the leadership, the unelected leadership, didn't want it to be called the Left Party. So they just came up with like three incredibly crap names. Your Party, and then two other ones that are so forgettable I've forgotten them, but they were just Progressive Social Alliance, I think was one of them. Yeah, they weren't particularly imaginative people.
Okay, so you all had a founding conference, and it was
sort
yeah,
of.
sort of.
So like,
So
sort
okay,
of. So like,
you had
we
sort of a
we had a founding
you,
conference, but no
uh-huh.
votes were taken at the conference.
I thought that's what you do at conferences. I mean,
No,
at
no,
my
no, no,
organization,
no. No. We were just there to be special, right? So everyone was picked by a sortition. So at random, right? So that's the first thing. Then there weren't even indicative votes taken in the room. All the voting happened online after any debate had happened.
huh. I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
it
that's
was
like,
proper bad. It was proper
I
bad.
yeah, like that's radically different than like we did have online voting through open slides at DSA's convention, but like we also had like the whole fucking like okay, say it's not working, then we have the whole like card raising thingy, and like
Yeah.
that was my first time attending a DSA convention. I enjoyed it. Like I thought the purpose of a convention, conference, or whatever, is to like deliberate, be in community with your comrades, and like actually like help set the line for your organization. But in this
Well,
case,
that's what it should be. That's what it should be. But the online voting wasn't just of the people in the room. It was anyone who was a party member got to vote. So it meant
huh,
people were sat at home. Like there was literally no point of anybody going to the conference. I said to people after I arrived there, I said, what would have been better was because all the motions were done via an online portal, right?
so wait,
And
this sounds like one member, one vote.
yeah, no. It was it was a all member ballot.
So yeah, like there were a bunch of people that were trying to like for
Atomized,
yeah,
you
there were a
know.
bunch of people that like they really love one member, one vote, and like basically what this and like it's good in theory. Like one thing that rightists are good
And
at
at a
is
local
couching.
level,
Yeah, at a local level, maybe. But like one thing that rightists are good at is couching like you talk about the unelected entrenched clique that made this fiasco of a conference. But like DSA, we kind of had the same thing. Like rightists love one member, one vote because they're really good at using their access to membership lists to whip for their own type thing. And then like basically how this would end up working is Okay, I'm going to recruit everybody on my street. I'm going to recruit my family, my friends who don't give a shit about DSA, but they love me. So if I want my resolution to pass, I'm just going to be like, hey, open this link and click yes, and then boom, bing, bang, boom. So like it's a system that's incredibly easy to game and abuse, and it's a vulgarization of what proper party life should be like. Like, no, you have to come sit and you have to debate this stuff and you have to actually be educated about what's at stake. Like, basically, it's an attempt to try to turn the deliberative methods and the deliberation process in DSA into a bizarro world, easily abused version of bourgeois politics. And yeah, that's
Well,
why I hate it.
yeah, I mean, historically, one member, one vote actually referred to delegate democracy, right?
Mm.
Uh, deliberative politics. In Britain, much obviously like in America, it's overwhelmingly the policy of the right wing of, well, not just of the workers' movement, but more widely, right? So uh, in Britain, it was the policy of uh, the right wing of the Labour Party who split to form the SPD. They were known as the Gang of Four. I'm not talking about the Chinese comrades. They were another Gang of Four, right? That was their policy against the Benites.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because they believed that the party membership, they believed that the party activists were too left wing, right? But the party membership were just as right wing as they were. So that's why they proposed it. Later, it got brought in by the predecessors of Tony Blair and so on, John Smith, because for that same reason that the activists were too left wing. Then in 2014, the right wing of the Labour Party then decided that the Labour membership was too left wing. So they opened it up to the public. And that's where they fucked up good and proper, because the public happened to be miles to the left of them. And that's how Jeremy Corbyn ended up being elected leader of the Labour Party, right? But that was a historical anomaly. But it was forced upon the workers' movement in Britain by Margaret Thatcher, basically, to smash the unions, like the introduction of all member ballots.
Okay. So basically, we could trace one member, one vote. Basically, we could trace one member, one vote back to Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, basically. And it wasn't just an attempt to smash the collectivism and participatory forms of democracy within the British workers' movement, but it was also an attempt to introduce capitalist social relations into like everyday sort of union interactions by saying, look, you pay £5, you get a vote. Don't worry about participating. Just give us a fiver. That'll all be good. And like I watched from afar the debates that were going on in the DSA and whatnot. And it wasn't surprising that it's a policy of the right, isn't it? Because they're liquidationists. And I mean, I've been following what's been going on in New York, sort of post the mayoral election and everything, and their kind of attempt to liquidate NYC DSA into some kind of NGO or whatever. Which
that whole R time thing. Yeah, the whole R time thing.
Do you know what I thought was hilarious about that was I saw a tweet and it was like Zoran was asked, so do you endorse this? And he's like, no, like everyone should join the DSA.
Yeah, and I saw somebody on Twitter saying like, okay, we need to build. Of course, I'm pretty sure they were being facetious. They were joking, but like that's how the right always works. Like they know that the rank and file are 9 times out of 10 going to be substantially more left wing. Like you have to consider like the material conditions that would lead them, like that leads rightists to be rightists. Okay, figure it like this. Okay, you've got your guy elected mayor, congressperson, whatever. So this person is going to give you a job, maybe give you something to do. So now you have your material interests at stake. You figure, okay, if these ultras take over, I'm going to lose my job. If they unendorse my candidate, I'm going to lose my job. So it's basically bourgeois bureaucratization, undemocratic of what's supposed to be a working class party. Like the membership is supposed to be like the active membership, the people that are basically developing into cadres, the people that participate, the people who are in leadership at the local level. Those are the people who should really like have a say. Those are the types of people that get elected to go to convention and and like basically try to undermine our convention, which per our bylaws is the highest, is the highest,
Governing body, yeah.
yeah, the highest deliberative organ of our body. And then you basically just feel like, okay, we're going to ignore y'all because y'all are a bunch of ultras and we're going to do our thing local. Like, no. And then, like, I have good comrades in NYCDSA. I have good comrades everywhere. But, like, at the same time, just the culture of, like, people particularly really do not like my caucus that say that we support political violence. Ooh, I'm like, if you are not a full-fledged Democratic apparatchik, like, if you believe that the system is not going to be overthrown, it's not going to be toppled peacefully, which all of those who call ourselves Marxists or communists or anarchists or whatever believe, technically the argument can be made that you support political violence as well. So, like, it's, and this happens every time that if somebody gets elected. Like, now people are concerned, trolling, you're going to hurt our electorate. I'm like, this is a big boy, this is a big girl, they're all right. But like, it's, and they know that, like, for example, we signed a statement in support of Elias Rodriguez, who I'm pretty sure you're familiar with. And like, people were just like fucking making, oh my God, you're going to bring down state repression. I'm like, bro, so you're running around calling us, and we are the largest socialist organization in the United States, and you're afraid of state repression. Like, look at the Black Panther Party, which everybody claims to be somewhat in the tradition of. These people are getting shot at. These people are getting railroaded. Like, socialism is an antagonistic contradiction. Socialism is an antagonistic contradiction with the capitalist class. Like, eventually, they are going to decide, okay, these people are fucking dangerous. We need to get rid of them. So instead of concern trolling and trying to postpone and kick the can down the road for the inevitable, maybe you should be preparing for it. Maybe you should, like, because what the enemy, I think, wants us to do is use the fear of repression to moderate our politics and basically be a loyal opposition. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be cowardly. They want us to be afraid. They want us to throw our political prisoners and prisoners of war under the bus. Just like with the Palestinian Action comrades that are currently on hunger strike in your country. Like, thankfully, like, a lot of people, I believe Jeremy Corbyn came out in support. Like, that's something that should unite everybody. Like, you cannot just sit and hold your hands and be, oh, well, is this going to lose us some points? I'm like, no, fuck them points. Okay? If I could sacrifice every single DSA elected so that the Palestinian people could stop having these bombs and shit dropped on them, I would. Some things are more important.
I 110% agree, comrade. You're not going to get any disagreement from me on this one. Like, if I was an American, I'd own a whole arsenal of guns. I believe in the right of self-defense. It's as simple as that. It's not about political violence. It's about the right to defend yourself.
Yeah, it's about basic Marxist principles.
And why should the state have a monopoly on arms? Why should the state have a monopoly on arms? It just, like, that's a good, probably the one good thing that's in your constitution is the right to bear arms. Like, yeah, we're not allowed guns. We're not allowed guns in this country.
Yeah, right? If I recall correctly, the only guns that y'all can have are like old rich dudes with fowling pieces.
We can have shotguns, but you have to get a license for that.
Yeah.
And some people can own pistols and hunting rifles as well. Air guns, anyone can get an air gun. You can just go in a shop and get an air gun, like a proper air gun shop. It's not like in America where you go into Walmart and you can come out with an AR-15. But and crossbows. Big fan of crossbows. Have you ever seen? Okay. Look this one up. The My Interceptor, MEY Interceptor. It's a semi-automatic crossbow with a magazine like an AR-15. Look this shit up. It's good.
Holy shit!
Yes, I know. You
I
got to
gotta
get
show
one,
my.
mate.
Hold
You
on, I
gotta
gotta
get
show.
one.
I gotta show my Yank fans this. Hold on, they will now. No, it looks like y'all are ready to raise the fucking fjord. Crossbows.
So it was
This,
made by a German fella,
yeah,
like
of
some
course it was.
German YouTube fella.
Of course it was. Of course, well, why wouldn't it be? The Germans are very good at making things
The
that kill
one good
people.
German. The one good German.
Yeah.
Slingshot channel.
Look at that. That's a proper.
First real
That's
sample.
a proper. And look, it's got a magazine.
Receptor.
Right, it's got a
Let me
magazine,
show
so
you
you can
its
load
features.
it up with.
Okay,
bolts.
folks, this is not a full test because I just received it, and we have a little bit of sunshine left, and then it's going to be dark, and
shoot the fucking thing.
It's in repair currently, and I needed to clean it out. So they're somehow in the pile. I can't find them, so I've been using Steambow, even though I don't like it very much. Compatible anyway.
That's one thing I hate about gun and like weapons YouTubers. They spend like they don't shoot the fucking thing until the end, and then they just sit and they just talk and play with it.
That's it for today.
Oh,
thanks,
God, there will be other videos.
Bye.
Right, look at him cock it. Look.
Bye.
Look at that. There's a couple of videos on YouTube of people getting like those ballistic dummies with like a ballistic gel and everything, and like shooting it at people's heads and stuff.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta be
Interceptor.
man.
You gotta get yourself in BRG. You've got to add it to your arsenal, kid.
Yeah, now I'm just gonna walk into the fucking. I'm just gonna walk to. Okay, I think I found it. I think I found one.
It's expensive. I think it's about 600 quid. So I don't know how much that'd be in Yankee dollars, but
probably that sounds like around $800. Yeah, it's a couple checks or two. That is fucking. I have never heard of this before.
The My Interceptor, mate.
My Interceptor.
My Interceptor. MEY Interceptor.
My Interceptor in slam.
Look at this. This is a bad man gun.
Trigger pressed while I keep repeating. 18 shots. Shots.
Imagine if they'd had that shit at Agincourt.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Imagine that. But yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's pretty fucking cool.
That's cold, buddy. I never thought that a Brit would introduce me to a new weapon. I'm just fucking. This is just a week of surprise.
What can I say? I mean, my granddad was big into like air rifles and stuff, so I learned how to shoot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
He was the type of person who he kept an air gun in his bedroom in case anybody broke in, so he could shoot them with it.
Yeah, like
we're just definitely not allowed.
Oi, you ain't supposed to be in here. Get out of here. Put your bloody eye out, mate.
That sounds like someone who's sort of midway through a stroke, like, ooh, like
eye out, mate. The fuck out of here.
But yeah, no, my Interceptor. I'm going to save up.
Holy shit! You need to come to. Have you ever been to the United States?
Oh, when I was a kid, yeah. I used to come when I was a kid, like once a year. We used to go to Florida.
Okay. Well, if your party ends up with observer status at our next convention, which it probably will, I look forward to meeting you.
That's if I get to go, because I'm just an ordinary rank and file.
You've got the juice. I'll speak for you. Let the crazy weapon obsessed Brit come to the United States. He's totally not going to try to
literally crazy.
Nah. You'll be in good company.
Mate, I take antipsychotics. I'm literally crazy.
Look, you're basically the type of Brit whose family like missed the boat over here because you're basically an American at heart.
Well, no,
you even look
I'm a
like an
worker.
American.
Look, I'm trying to lose the weight. All right, stop.
Oh, it's not. There wasn't a dig at your weight. Anyways, so politics. So I
Yeah.
read the political statement of your party. So, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. I'm very dumb. I'm sorry. Of course, I'm very dumb. I'm an American. So this is a working document, apparently. So, like, it's subject to change. Like all documents, nothing is set in stone. It's undialectical. So, y'all, what do y'all want to do? We seek to change the balance of power at every level of society by organizing and campaigning in communities and workplaces and trade unions and social movements across the nations and regions. Your party is committed to equality across our society. We oppose all forms of prejudice, oppression, discrimination, and scapegoating, which are weaponized by ruling elites to divide people and communities. We reject the capitalist order that is responsible for grotesque levels of inequality, both at home and abroad. We favor the extension of democracy over the economy, including the public ownership of key sectors and services. Okay. Against militarism and a world free of nuclear weapons. You oppose the global system of imperial domination and colonization and support movements for national liberation and self-determination. So basically, you all sound like a Brit version of DSA.
Well, not quite. Not quite. So, like, those of us in DSYP, the Democratic Socialists of your party, we want to turn your party into a British DSA. Like, that's our whole reason for coming into existence. After I wrote like a series of articles on it, and then people kind of got together, and it's where we are right now. If you go on the website dsyp.org, you'll find the draft political statement that we wrote. Well, no, you'll find our points of unity, and then you'll find the draft political statement that we submitted for consideration by the party, but it didn't even get to a vote.
You've got a Democratic Socialist wing of what sounds like ostensibly to be a Democratic Socialist Party. Okay. Are communists allowed in your party?
Well, it's a bit hit and miss, right? So the unelected leadership have like trots on the brain. So they're absolutely convinced that, like, you know, the Trotskyists are going to come and they're going to take over the party, and so they're like banning them left, right, and centre. But you know, luckily, I've never been. That's just an abridged version of the political statement we wrote. The full version's up there, but you can read our points of unity as well if you want. I think you'll.
This is
you'll agree with
well,
them.
It's not as long as some shit I've read.
Yeah, no, it's like 2 pages. But if you click on the, you know, where it says like Democratic Socialists and there's like a little arrow, if you click on there,
yes.
At the top, on I can't really see on top, at the top, on like the menu bar at the top, right? Okay. No, not the Your Party one, the Democratic Socialists. Yeah, points of unity. There you go.
Okay, you stand for socialism and the defeat of capitalism. Okay. Thoroughly internationalist, anti-imperialist, and anti-racist. That means being explicitly and uncompromisingly anti-Zionist. Okay, I'm down. Your party must fight for the liberation of the oppressed and exploited and oppressed everywhere. Okay. Mass political education. I dig it. Your party must be a meaningful and radical democracy where members have full control of the party's direction. We oppose the model of internal dictatorship within traditional political parties and instead demand a collective leadership. Elected, recallable, and accountable to membership. Okay. Nonpartisan staff, unification of the entire British left, a unitary political party based on individual membership with an equal right to participation in democratic deliberations and decision-making for all. A mass socialist party. It must stand in, okay, the Brits, they call running for election, they call it standing. I don't know why they do that, but not be defined by them. And a new left strategy, treating British politics as a comprehensive struggle for power, not just elected office. Okay. You all also threw some republicanism in there. You all want to get rid of the king.
Yeah. No, we're Democratic Republicans like the Mugrats.
Yeah. Now, see, the benefit is we don't have a king over here. Like, we kind of,
you've
white
got
people.
President.
Yeah.
Like
a president that thinks he's a king. Yeah. Did we talk about the Jez? Why do y'all call Jeremy Corbyn Jezza?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's for sure. I mean,
So there's
back in the day, back during the Corbyn leadership, there used to be this blog, this right-wing blog called Guido Fawkes, right?
Mhm.
And it's basically like an online political tabloid, attacks people left, right, and centre, but from like a hard right position. They used to call him Jezbollah.
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 That's funny. That's funny. Nothing that
Well,
comes
I
from the
almost
UK.
got caught. Me and my mate started like talking about Jezbollah, like entirely as a joke because we'd read it on that website. And then some undercover journalist like recorded me in the pub being talking about Jezbollah.
So you started that meme.
No, I didn't start the meme. No, I didn't start the meme. This right wing website Guido Fawkes did, but yeah, no, he was a weird geezer, that undercover journalist, because he turned to me. Where's my phone? I don't know where my phone is, but anyway, so he turns to me. I use this fucking remote. He turns to me. I'm sat at this table, and he goes, "Max." That's his phone pointing in my direction. "Max, are we Trotskyists?" And I was like, "No." Like, why on earth would you ask that? Yeah.
That is bizarre.
They're always chucking undercover. In one summer, I was subject to 2 undercover journalist investigations in 2016. We had 2 undercover journalists on the 2016 Corbyn.
So you're a bit of like a British, like a left-wing British political celebrity. Okay.
No, I'm really not. I'm just a gobshite. But
yeah, gobshites apparently make people want to read weird news articles.
Yeah. Well, no. One of them was an actual. She had like a hidden camera, right, and she was recording people. And she heard me refer to something being about as helpful as a lobotomy, and that ended up on television.
Well, as a fellow person that's been on television because of tweets that I've made, and like the thing with my caucus is like in DSA is that like every time an incident happens, like people are like, look, please do not let the Maoists stop making statements, because apparently right-wing media loves Liberation Caucus. Mainly because like what they do is they basically try to take things that we say, like because we're a lot of millennial and Zoomer terminally online gobshites just like you, but like people that do electoral work, they're like, okay, these Maoists, they're making us like look like a bunch of unserious assholes. But again, like that's what right wing media does. And like my main thing is that we should not orient our positions, we should not orient our behavior around what the enemy is going to say. Because it doesn't matter if you're all sunshine and rainbows and you're super serious. They're still going to take the fact that you were recorded or somebody has a snapshot of a tweet with you using the word comrade, and they'd be like, oh my God, commies want to destroy America. So like, that's what the right-wing media does. That's what the right-wing administration officials do. And we should not play into that by moderating our positions. Like, I'm proud to call people comrade. It's a category that's a lot closer than friend, as Abimael Guzman would say. So yeah, fuck them.
I mean, historically, the term used within the workers' and socialist movements was citizen, right? Originally, like drawn from
a French thing. That it's a French thing.
No. You get it. Have you ever read Bruno Leopold's Citizen Marx? Which is about the influence of republicanism on Marx's social and political thought. It won the Deutsche Book Prize like a couple of months ago or whatever.
I should get that one.
Yeah.
I've got a giant stack of books behind me.
Tremendous. I had to get rid of all my books. I had to get rid of all my books because I ran out of space. So now I just pirate ebooks all day long.
I used to have a bookshelf behind me. I had so many books, it broke the bookshelf.
Correct position.
Yeah,
correct
just
position. But yeah,
maybe I'll just do maybe I'll just do the old school thing and get like some 2x4s and some cement blocks. Make my own bookshelf. Except then if that thing falls, my bed is right there, so it's gonna fall and smash my fucking brains in. That'll be an ignominious end for
don't
Black
put
Red
it
Guard.
above your bed. Don't put it
Huh?
above your bed. That doesn't sound particularly wise to have like
Yeah,
concrete fucking blocks above your bed. You know, you're
yeah.
going to be
I'm not a
lying there, snoring. Next thing you know, you've got a fucking breeze block dropped on your head. You
yeah.
know, and you're fucking walking around like that for the rest of your life. So, you
Yeah.
know.
Death to
But
all royals. Free fish and chips to the poors. Free the six
I'm
counties.
really pissed off, right? I'm really pissed off. So,
You know that Max agrees with all of that, right?
yeah, right? So, fish and chips, right? So, ever since I was a kid, there was this fish and chip shop right down the road from me, right? Best fish and chips in town, run by a couple of Chinese brothers, right? It shut down. They got too old. The kids didn't want to take it on. And my favourite fish and chip shop is now gone. I don't think I'll ever eat fish and chips again.
I make my own fish and chips. It's really not that hard.
Fried the fish and chips in sesame oil.
Huh?
Because what I'm pretty certain they fried the fish and chips in sesame oil.
Oh, is that what you enjoy? You like that?
Oh, it was terrific. I love Chinese food as well.
Oh, I make my own fish and chips. It's really not that hard. It's just French fries and fish fillet.
Well, no, it's not. You know, it's a bit of cod. You need a good bit of cod that's probably about this big. You need to put it in some very light batter. Some people put like lager in there or ale or whatever. You whip it all up, a bit like a crepe batter, you know, for like a French pancake. And then you fucking dip it in there. You let it all drip off a bit. Dunk it in, deep fry it in the oil. You know, terrific.
It's not that hard to fry a fish, but
no,
but yeah,
but
you should do a fish. You should do a
to fry it right. You should actually one of the most the old school way that they used to do it was in beef dripping, which I think you would call tallow. So you just fill the deep fat fryer with like beef dripping or tallow, and then you would cook the chips and whatever in that. Oh, superb. Can't get any better. Do you like Chinese food?
I love Chinese food.
Correct.
Bro, my city, St. Louis, like multiple food critics have said that St. Louis has the best Chinese food outside of San Francisco, which has a very large Chinese American population. Anyways, back to politics, because all this talk of food is making me hungry. Chinese
food should be political, though. In the Democratic Socialists of your party, Chinese takeaway food is our official cuisine. Whenever we meet up, we always go for a meal, a succulent Chinese meal.
It's proletarian food.
Yeah.
It's proletarian food, just like your fish and chips. Anyways, I have a comrade that moved to Cornwall, and they're always. I think they actually work in a fish and chip shop. I don't know, but
Cornwall is a really it's all seasonal work in Cornwall. So like most of the people that live in Cornwall are actually incredibly poor, right?
There's a lot of what's there like tin mines and stuff over there?
They used to be, but they're all shut down now. Now there's a lithium mine.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah, they found lithium.
No, you better don't let Elon Musk find out about that. He's going to invade Cornwall.
Yeah, but it's really underdeveloped. So like pretty much, you know, once you get off like the main roads and everything, it's all single car like lanes and whatnot. They haven't really been developed.
So Cornwall is literally the American South of England.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I thought
really
that was
like underdeveloped, poor, but lots of like rich people, like second
vacation homes. Yeah, vacation homes and shit. Because from pictures I've seen it, from videos I've seen, it's extremely beautiful country. Like it's basically like you got sea on both sides. It's like if you look at a map of the UK, Cornwall is basically like this little jit just coming down there, and yeah, it's very beautiful.
There's
But there's a
also
parent.
there's a Cornish nationalist movement as well that wants
Don't
to
all the
set.
Celts have? Don't all the Celtic people of Britain have nationalist movements?
Yeah, no, because obviously the Cornish are Celts, but yeah, no, they want to
Yeah.
break away.
But the only ones that got violent were the Irish. But like, yeah, I've never heard of like armed physical force Scottish Republicans or armed physical force Cornish or Welsh Republicans.
I'm sure there has been at some point during history,
Yeah,
but they've never, not
yeah,
to the
like
level that they are.
uprisings that got put down. And they're like, yeah, maybe we should chill. Yeah, but anyways, so you constantly refer to the unelected leadership. So you're talking about Jeremy Corbyn's people, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody elected them, but they're in charge. You know,
I mean, yeah,
completely unaccountable. You know, there's less light being shone on them than exists inside of a black hole. Like no one really knows what they're up to. But members do find out some information through leaks and stuff trickling down and whatnot. And that's basically how most members find out what's going on at the top of the party. In the run up to conference, they had like a whole load of people that they were employing on the party's dime. Apparently, one person was charging £600 a day to work on, like, founding the party or whatever. Yeah, it was just like jobs for the boys and the girls, basically. If you're one of the beautiful people, you got invited in, and you know.
Jeremy Corbyn is a beautiful person.
Well, no, I mean, the problem isn't so much Jeremy; it's the people around him, right? So for the past decade, Jeremy has basically outsourced all of his thinking and decision making to like people who were originally in his employ and who are still like in his circle, basically. And they go around and they shut things down by going, "Oh, but this is what Jeremy wants," and everyone's supposed to be like, "Oh, right then."
Who cares for it? Like that's like the exact same dynamic around Zeran. Like it's not like okay. My ideal version of like socialist, communist, whatever you want to call it, organizing is like our electeds, unless they are elected to a position within DSA, such as co-chair or NPC, like y'all are members just like everybody else. Like you cannot use your bourgeois political clout or whatever to lean on people to try to force arbitrary decisions. Like fuck what Zeran wants. You're the mayor of New York City. I get you got to do your job. You got to deliver, but at the same time, you do not have the right to you don't have the right to use that bourgeois power to influence decisions that are taken within the party or within the organization. That's a very, very toxic method of leadership that has led many socialist parties to failure before.
It's the iron law, isn't it? The old iron law of oligarchy.
Yeah,
You know,
and we cannot. Yeah,
oligarchy. You know, but what a lot of people forget about the iron law is, yeah, it's made out of iron, but that doesn't mean it's unbreakable. Like with any metallurgist will tell you, with enough heat and pressure, you know, you can smelt iron down and recast it anew. And I think that's actually like a big challenge for socialist parties today, is to work out how to do that. And like we've tried doing that in DSYP. We write a whole model constitution for the party. We based it on the DSA's constitution and then like fleshed it out. We used that as a starting point and we fleshed it out and we looked at the various different critiques from the left of the DSA as to like the organisation. Then we used our own history of, you know, like in the Labour Party and in various different left groupings or whatever to try to create a constitution that was ultra democratic but workable and at the same time prevented any kind of elite ever being formed within the party itself, whether a bureaucratic elite or even one that was nominally elected. So, you know.
Yeah. Just looking at it, it's pretty obvious. Like you tailored it to the conditions of the UK, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty obvious that you got a lot from us.
yeah.
It's very flattering. It's very flattering.
No,
It's just
because it's a good
another.
model of organisation.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
good
another.
model of organisation, right? So we just have to like work out how it would apply, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's another manifestation of the American cultural victory over the UK.
nah, not necessarily, but I do think that because we used the DSA's constitution as a guide and we use the bylaws as a guide for our standing orders, that there's a lot in there that the American left within the DSA can take a look at now and adapt back to the DSA's constitution. So we tried
Okay.
to work out the whole socialist in office committees thing.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm looking at Article 10 for y'all are gonna if this is eventually if this eventually becomes the constitution of your party, then I'm looking at the National Political Committee, and I really like this. It says that you're going to have 16 individual members, of which no more than 8 shall be cisgender men, because that's a problem on the left. Like cisgender dudes that run their mouths a lot, yet do no actual political work, end up dominating everything by virtue of the fact that they're uh, because of their petty bourgeoisie, they're very comfortable. They don't have to work for a living. They're able to dedicate a lot of time to this. If there are fewer than 4 members who identify as an ethnic or racial minority, additional members with this characteristic shall be elected until at least 4 are elected. If there are fewer than 4 members who identify as disabled, okay, additional members with this characteristic shall be elected until at least 4 are elected. Okay, I like this left DEI. I like it. Because like that's a problem. Like DSA in particular, we have a very big whiteness problem. And like if I at the last census that I saw, it was made in 21. It was taken in 21 rather. I believe we're like 85% white in a country that is not 85% white. So like I always say, like if your socialist organization, if your socialist movement does not involve or bring in the people that are the most like oppressed, the people that have basically every reason to be like, you know what, fuck the system, let's create a new one. That's a problem. Like you're not serving them. You're not serving them. If you're not serving the people who have every reason to be socialists, you should reconsider some things. But a lot of people, like I mentioned earlier, they have jobs, they're tied to this system, and they don't want to. It makes them uncomfortable to think about or talk about changing things because um, that would make them downwardly mobile and harm their material conditions because they like being able to work for Congress people and mayors or staffers and do absolutely fucking nothing besides draw a salary.
yeah, no, I mean, with the quotas thing, right? Ideally, it's something that in like 10, 15 years was no longer needed because when it came time to electing a leadership of the party, you know, the various different platforms, factions, tendencies, whatever you want to call them, that were running candidates would make sure that they were like reflective and not just a bunch of white geezers. But at the moment, that's not going to happen. And there was a big, you know, we had a big in DSYP. It wasn't much of a debate, but some of the left groups outside of DSYP were very much against our proposals to have quotas because they believe that, you know, quite rightly, the politics should be in command. But we don't think the quota system in any way diminishes that whatsoever. It just sort of forces, you know, any group putting forward a set of candidates in an internal election to actually make sure that like they're fairly diverse and reflective of the population. Because the British left is incredibly white as well, incredibly
But yeah,
white.
it's British.
Yeah, well, no, but you know, Britain's fairly ethnically diverse. It's not.
Yeah, the guy that knocked the shit out of Jake Paul the other night is British. Well, British Nigerian, but
No,
yeah.
he only became a boxer. Right, originally he was a diver. Right, he was going
So,
to be on the Olympic diving team,
mhm.
but he got pulled over. I might be wrong about this. I'm pretty certain he was pulled over, and he had 9 ounces of reefer in his car.
Reefer. Jesus Christ, are you a cop from the 40s?
No. I just like old words, right? So he had
Reefer.
like reefer, mate. So like, yeah, it's like or crow, like chronic.
So he decided. So he decided he wanted to. So he decided that instead of.
So he gets kicked off. So he gets kicked off the Olympic diving team, right?
So he goes into knocking the shit out of people for a living.
So I'm just going to start beating the shit out of people. Like, immediately pivots, and then within like 3 years, he's a professional boxer. And yeah, no, we got caught with like a 9
That's
bar
the Nigerian difference.
in his trunk. Yeah,
That's the Nigerian difference.
but yeah, I heard he beat the shit out of that fucking Disney kid.
He did. He broke his jaw in 2 places.
Tremendous. Well done, Anthony. Well done.
Indeed. So, so what do you see? Like, do you see the DSYP? I did not butcher your acronym. I have
No,
respect for Comrade Max.
Some people call us Dem Socks.
Dumb socks.
Dem Socks. DEM. Dem as in democratic. Socks as in socialist. Yeah, Dem Socks.
Yeah. So, do you see DSYP getting any traction? Like, how much support do you all have within YP?
Well, the whole reason why your party has collective leadership now is because we raise the demand for it.
Okay, so y'all are throwing your clout around. Huh?
It passed very narrowly, right? And I think it's arguable that the reason why it passed was at the last minute, Zara Sultana came out in support of it, which obviously won it. Enough votes. Only won by like 4%.
All that matters is it won.
But yeah, no, I think we're fairly popular, fairly hegemonic on the left wing of the party now, on like the internal left, not necessarily the external left, like groups that existed that are intervening in the party, but we're a group that exists solely made up of people who are party members, organizing.
All right. So it looks like basically y'all are in for a long march, and you all have a good crew of people together.
Hopefully not. So we're going to have these elections to the Central Executive Committee, as it's called, starting in January. And then we've got the first party conference. First annual conference, some point next year. That's the last opportunity to change the constitution by a simple majority vote. After that, you have to get a 2/3 majority. Our model for the party, we call it a party republic because we don't want like kings and queens. Like we don't want Jeremy to be king of the party, just as much we don't want Zara to be like queen of the party. As is basically the norm in all British political parties, right? Because all political parties reflect in their structures, practices, and modes of behaviour the type of society that they come from. And what our big thing is that we need to reflect the type of society that we're aspiring to build. Britain's a monarchical state, and we want a socialist republic. So that means you have to have a party based on Republican principles, and that's largely also what inspired us to take a look at the DSO as the basis for all that.
Okay. So ideologically, you would not ideologically, but like you hang out with mug people a lot, or mugrats.
Yeah. I love the mugrats. Yeah,
they're good people.
I'm Britain's #1 mug member. I'm not actually. I've never been onboarded into mug, but I like to think of myself as a mugrat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're good. They're good comrades. The main thing is like trying to the big thing that they're known for in DSA is trying to reform the American Constitution. Because like they're really like they basically see themselves in the left Democratic Republic tradition. So yeah, I don't see them as being particularly harmful. They're good comrades. Met a bunch of convention, talked to them a lot. Parker McQueenie in particular, I've known him for quite a while. So yeah, you're in good company.
Yeah.
So what is it?
democratic. I draw from like a wide range of left traditions personally. So
What do you think of Maoism?
yeah, I'm quite pro Maoism.
You're quite pro Maoism?
I'm quite pro Maoism, yeah.
How come there are like no Maoist formations in Britain?
Well, there are, because I sent you the link about that fucking creepy cult, didn't I?
Not those people, not Bala's people. Didn't he die last year?
Yeah, he fucking died.
I made a video. I think I made a video about them like a year and a half ago.
Thank God he died. I mean,
that was a sick bastard.
Yeah, no, that geezer was fucked up. I mean, I told you, didn't I? I met that cult member, Josie, who was the one that like exposed the Bala cult, right? And then do you remember he used to say that he had this Jackie box that he would control the
computer, evil computer that was going to nuke the world.
And even though she was the one that exposed him, and then she was like against him for a while. I think probably what happened was he wrote her a letter saying that, like Jackie's going to come for you or something, because she immediately like did an about face. And now you see her at demonstrations all the time, at different left meetings, handing out these fucking leaflets that she's had printed.
How were these people like? Okay, when I see these weird ass leftist cults, I'm thinking like, because at one point, I imagine most of these people are like old as fuck. Like they were the original people that were involved in this thing. Like at one point, these people were, I guess, adamant students of Marxism, Leninism, Mao Zedong thought. Like they were not born with their brains broken. So like at what point do you go from like studying Mao earnestly and genuinely to believing that an evil computer named Jackie controls the world? Like what is fuck? The Cold War was weird, man. Like,
I mean, basically, from what I gather, he convinced them all that they had to go underground, right? Because the British fascist state was coming for them. Because I think their bookshop got raided by the old Bill a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then he just basically locked them in a house for 30 odd years or whatever, made them all claim the dole, unemployment benefit and whatnot.
That is
just fucking kept the money for himself.
Yeah,
and then
like
went around raping them and shit like that, dirty fucker.
Yeah. Okay, so I found this thing, clearing Comrade Bala's name. And this is just an insult to like my ideology in particular. Like this is not what Maoism is. I made a video about these weirdos. Workers Institute for Advanced Theoretical of Nature. Director A. Balakrishnan, clearing Comrade Bala's name.
I would imagine this has been written by Josie.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, this is, I guess, a recantation of all the stuff that she wrote. Some of the toys and educational materials Comrade Bala provided for Comrade Brim from John. Okay, oh, cool. He bought you some fucking... Yeah. I made a pink tricycle. These look like pictures that these are stock photos.
Yeah, that she's probably put together in Microsoft Paint.
And she has inventoried all of the things. Clock rise from top left. Prima bicycle with side wheels. Paper DNA model from the Science Museum. Globe of the World. People's Bus. That's a red double-decker bus. Prism from Science Museum. Hologram of a shooting star. Round peg mosaic board. Super robot. Magnetic numbers. Glockenspiel. Model of the human skeleton. Atomod to make models of atoms and molecules, Magnet Fun, and Lego. And the Lego is just literally the Lego logo. This is how do you people say mental? Hey. Anyways, weird.
For you, mate.
That seems like So, are there any other Maoist organizations in Britain besides that weird cult?
Yeah, there's a couple of communist parties that are Maoist.
Oh, interesting.
You'd have to.
Do they go around?
but they're not like Die Hard, like, you know,
They're like more like Maoist influenced.
Well, so you know, like maybe what's that Maoist group that likes going around disrupting DSA meetings?
Well, they have been collapsed for like 2 years. They were called Red Guards, Austin.
Yeah, right. So
they eventually changed the name. They eventually changed the name for the Center for the Reconstitution of the Communist Party of the United States of America.
Progressive, right? So they used to wear like little red berets, didn't they?
They used to wear like have you seen the Ku Klux Klan?
Oh, but they like that. That's a bit.
They would. Have you seen like the little pointy hats that they wear?
Yeah, the little pointy hat.
Yeah, they would. They weren't pointy, but they would basically take like red cloth and make like a mask, and they would carve. They would cut holes for eyes in, and then they would put like a big ass hammer and sickle white on it. So yeah,
why didn't they just buy like a white balaclava? And
I don't fucking know. Yeah, then I guess I don't know. I guess they thought they would be.
Or go on AliExpress and get like a red balaclava or something like that. But anyway, you can't wear anything you can get arrested if you wear anything that's considered a political uniform in Britain.
No IRA LARPers.
Well, no, they banned it in the 30s because of Oswald Mosley and the fascists.
Oh yeah.
Because they used to go around dressed in black shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah. And then they got their asses beat at the Battle of Cable Street, the high point of the British left. It is like it wasn't just like one org. Like every average ordinary working people came out. All right, the Nazis are coming. Eric, come on out, lads. We're being Nazis.
Yeah,
it was like
it took place in the East End as well, which was like a melting pot of various different immigrant communities.
Wasn't that where Alfie Solomons was from?
Yeah. Alfie was from Camden. Camden.
Camden.
You're talking about Tom Hardy in Peaky Blinders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was from Camden, which is in northwest London.
Yeah. Okay. Where were the Cray twins from?
They were from the East End. Yeah, they were from a place called Bethnal Green.
Oh, okay.
You know, they weren't like the big deal that they made themselves out to be, right? They basically
media mobsters.
Their firm basically was like if you did any crime within their sort of remit, they would just tax you.
Oh, okay.
They didn't go around doing bank robberies or anything like that. They used to just
they're basically like just a little local mob.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But then they liked the whole celebrity thing and everything like that. They got themselves on TV and shit like that, and then they got taken down because they did stupid shit. So
yeah, they were kind of like, I guess, like wannabe British Al Capones or something.
Yeah, no, basically like American gangster films, and that's what they wanted to be. Like, and obviously one of them was a schizophrenic as well, which obviously didn't help.
Many such cases. Imagine Zoomer crime families.
Oh God, could you imagine?
There's a Maoist party called Red Fight Back that had a few hundred members, but it imploded at the start of 2023. Many such cases. Liberation Caucus, I think, is probably the longest lived, largest Maoist organization in the United States that has made it more than a few months without imploding.
Oh, that's good.
That isn't a cult. Yeah, that's very good. Maoists can get together. We're even a united, we're like a united front of Maoists. Like, it's not just MLMs. We have Mao Spontex people. We have Maoist third worlders. We have all types of people. No Dengites allowed, though.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask, what's your position on the Dengists?
Yeah, death to Ding.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I watched a couple of weeks ago, right? I watched this, there's this TV show. It was made by Chinese state TV called Deng Xiaoping at History's Crossroads, right? And it's like an official history. So it's a drama. It's 48 episodes.
48 episodes about Deng Xiaoping?
Yeah, 48 episodes about Deng Xiaoping, right?
I'd fall asleep. Have you ever read anything he wrote? The dude was boring as fuck.
Oh yeah, I know, but he did come out with some good lines. You got to give him that. Now
Black cat, white cat, blah blah blah.
Now being 70% right, 30% wrong.
Vietnam needs to be invaded because they need to be taught a lesson. No, my favorite from him is I do not know why people feel we need to kill Pol Pot. He made mistakes, many errors in the past, but he's also a good influence against the Vietnamese and Soviet aggressors. I'm like, bruh, dude killed 2/3 of his country.
We've got a member in DSYP whose surname's Potts, and I always refer to her as Pole. And
Yeah.
and tell people to put their glasses away and stuff because she'll put them on a list.
You know, the Pol Pot wore glasses.
Hypocrite.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was a hypocrite. He wore glasses himself.
He's been an intellectual. Who the fuck does he think it is? He's not allowed to wear
Dude
glasses.
studied in Paris. As
did many. You know.
Yeah.
Deng studied in Paris.
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh was technically
helped found the French Communist Party.
Yeah. Look, it's Pol Pot on the left. Hypocrite. Looks like the exact same fucking glasses I have.
He looks like a right nerd, he does.
Yeah, he was a right nerd.
You don't look like a nerd. You look good in specs. I mean, technically, I'm supposed to wear specs, but I don't like my glasses. So when I do need to read, I put on my prescription sunglasses. There you go.
Yeah, now you look like a member of the British Weather Underground. The British Red Army faction.
Have you ever read there? Have you ever read the manifesto by the Meinhof?
By who?
Bader Meinhof, the Bader Meinhof gang, Red Army faction.
Yeah, I've got a couple of books by them back here somewhere. Of this giant pile of them.
It's interesting because they go in about the West German state and how it was never properly denazified, and
NATO was literally founded by Nazis.
Yeah, there's still Nazis throughout the state and everything like that. And when you think about it, like they're never fully denazified. They eradicated the East German state on reunification. And if you look at the way that the German state represses people, think about with everything that's been going on in Palestine right now. The way they treat anti-Zionists is just.
Eventually, eventually going to fix it so that you can't even say Palestine in public. It's fucking crazy.
No.
And have you?
The German left's just as bad.
Have you heard of those anti-Deutsche people?
Well, apparently they've imploded. They're the wrong type of anti-Germans. Right? They get even so German. They're so German that they get being anti-German wrong.
Yeah, that is true.
Have you ever seen the photo of when they went to Dresden? There was like a commemoration for the bombing of Dresden. Because the British RAF just destroyed it. Yeah. Go on, type in on your favourite search engine's images. Type in Bomber Harris, do it again. So the anti-Deutsch turn up at this fucking commemoration with a sign that's like.
Who was Harris? Are they talking about Kamala Harris?
No, Bomber Harris. So Bomber Harris was like the geezer behind the bombing of Dresden.
And they're basically calling for their own country to be
they're calling for them to do it again. Yeah,
that sounds like white guilt on steroids.
Oh yeah, massively.
I mean, not to be fair, what a lot of people forget is that the Japanese had it worse. Like at least the Krauts they built with like stone and brick. And the Americans literally knew that using incendiary bombs on Japanese cities would result in infernos. Like the Japanese built with wood and paper. They're like, you know what? Do it anyway. I think that was Curtis.
The house is built from wood and paper.
Yeah.
You don't really use bricks or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all better not hope. Y'all better hope that you don't get a second blitz. Anyways, I'm also when I read about the Brits blitz.
The blitz.
It's amazing how Americans are oh my God, how horrible World War II was so horrible for us. We had rationing. I'm like, bro, y'all literally got bombed every night back to back for months.
People digging bomb shelters in their gardens.
Yeah, and
right?
y'all still got up and
That
went to
was
work. There's a
him.
picture of the fucking milkman out delivering milk among the rubble. It's
I
like
mean,
that whole.
I remember. So like one of my granddads fought during the Second World War. He was a paratrooper. But the other one, he like my mum's dad, who I was closest to, he he was a kid during the war, right? He like the war ended when he was 10 or whatever. And he was sent to a completely different part of the country, evacuated or whatever. They evacuated all the cities and sent the children to the countryside. But when he grew up, most of London was in like rubble, right? So they used to play old bomb sites and stuff like that. And the rationing went on well into the 50s. People forget this. Like for us, it went well on into the 50s. And we had doodle bugs. You ever heard of a doodle bug?
No, I guess it's
Right.
some
So
type of
doodle
bug.
bug was a bomb. Doodle bug was a bomb, right? And it used to do like this ringing sound. And then just as it was about to drop, the propeller shut off. And that's how people knew it was about to fall on them. And my granddad told me a story of he remembers being in his flat with his dad, and the air raid siren went off, and it was only him in the flat, him and his dad in the flat. My granddad was like one of 11 or something like that. Everybody else was out for whatever reason. So him and his dad rush out to the balcony, and all of a sudden they realise they're not going to be able to get out of the building or anything in time. So they stood on the balcony and they hear the doodle bug and they hear it cut out. And my great grandfather grabs my granddad and says, "This is it, son," and sort of tries to tuck him in under his arm or whatever. And then the bomb dropped on the other side of the street and destroyed the block of flats there. But then, like my granddad's aunt, who lived in another block of flats further down the King's Road in Chelsea, that got bombed. They couldn't get out in time, so she put the kids under the kitchen table and went over them to like try and shield them. And the bomb came through and the roof collapsed and it collapsed the table and she fell on top of them. She was alive, but she suffocated them to death. Yeah, like
It's fucking.
so
They're
not
like,
on purpose. It wasn't on purpose, obviously.
yeah,
But like the weight of her
it's an
body
accident.
on top, yeah,
Yeah, it's
suffocated.
like, that's like, and like Americans, the worst we had during the war was like the Japanese were sending incendiary bombs, like Pearl Harbor, but that was at a military base. But like, we never went through shit like that. Like my grandma, she was a kid, so like, when the war ended, I think she was roughly the same age as your granddad was. So like, and she wasn't in the city. She grew up in a rural area in the South. She was a sharecropper family picking cotton. So like the worst thing I think there was a Air Force base or something, like the planes would fly over our house for training or something like that. And she remembers the blackout. Like everybody would have to like put these black shades over their windows. Because like, and her mom, my great grandma literally told her, "Look, y'all need to cover them windows, otherwise the white folks gonna drop a bomb on the house." So
Yeah, no, like so we had to do that here. People would sometimes just paint their windows black, like from the inside to
save some
black
time.
it out. But they used to have these things called air raid wardens, right? And they were volunteers and they were like police, but they were just for like air raids. And they would turn that light out, or whatever. They'd shout at you and they knock on your door and go, "You've got a light showing," or whatever, because obviously the planes would come above and yeah. But I mean, in London originally, there was a big fight led by a communist actually, in the East End to use the London Underground stations as like bomb shelters so that people could go down there at night, and like would just be safe, and you'd have whole families going down there sleeping, and you can Google it, you'll find photos and everything like that. But because they wouldn't do that. So people, were at the mercy of the bombers, basically. And then I had these things called Anderson shelters, which were basically like corrugated, like iron. You'd be like a box, and you'd dig a big hole in your garden or whatever, and you put it in there, and then you would cover it in the stuff that you've just dug up and put grass on top and everything like that to try and hide it from the bombers or whatever. And people would have to go down there and during an air raid, or some people just slept down there at night just in case an air raid went off, so they didn't have to get up. And then they had these other ones, which I think were called Morrison shelters. And they were basically cages, steel cages, that you put around your bed. And then if you got bombed, you'd be fine, because the steel cage would protect you from the ceiling coming through or the walls exploding or anything like that. So it was proper rough.
Like imagine, like I compare this to people like the people in Gaza don't have any of this shit. No, like if you get bombed, you're just fucked.
Yeah, no, I remember when I was a kid going to the Imperial War Museum, right? It's in London. It's in what used to be a very famous mental hospital, right? But they converted it into the Imperial War Museum. And I remember going there on a school trip when I was a kid, and they had an air raid shelter in there, right, that they built especially. And you would go in there, and basically, a bit like a theme park ride, it would simulate like an air raid going on. And I remember going in there, and there was this old bloke in there, and all these kids were running about on the outside. And being kids, you do dumb shit, right? You see like a tin box, and you fucking whack on the sides and everything like that. And this poor old fella, he was in tears. He didn't know what to do. It was like he was 5 years old again.
Yeah, they gave them. Dude had PTSD.
Yeah, and you think about it, like a whole generation had that, and they're going to have that in Gaza now as well.
Yep, shit. It's more like, it's like I would dare say this is like 15, 20 times worse than the Blitz. Like, because at least
complete destruction, complete and utter destruction.
Yeah.
Total
every
war.
time. Yeah. But anyways, so I guess we got onto this is why I love talking to random like comrades that have like awareness of history. Like we just had a 20-minute long discussion about the fucking Blitz. Because like it's important. Like we might be in World War III soon, although like nobody's just gonna like send bombers over the United States. It's more likely gonna be an EMP. So no more internet. Anyways, are you optimistic about the future of your party? I mean, you considering that you're still in it, I imagine you are.
I'm fairly optimistic. It's going to be a long, hard slog. I think some people are too short-termist, and they think that we're like a hop, skip, and a jump, and a snazzy comm strategy, and we're going to form the next government. That's just not going to happen, right? It took the Labour Party 24 years to form a minority administration, which ended in disaster, right? It took 45 years for it to form a majority government. And even then, that could only be deemed successful due to specific historical circumstances, largely tied to the war and the development of the British state during the Second World War. Because post-war social democracy in Britain is actually just an extension of wartime controls. And it had led to like a huge sea change within sort of the state bureaucracy, where they were fairly like pro-intervention into the economy and other spheres of life, because it was just a continuation of wartime policy, basically. And in many ways, we call it post-war social democracy, but
and even then, y'all still end up with church. Y'all still ended up. Y'all still ended up with Churchill's shitty ass again after Attlee left.
The whole model that was adopted, was obviously influenced by the policy of the workers' movement and so on, but it was largely based on a framework developed by William Beveridge, who was a liberal. He was a social liberal.
His last name was Beveridge?
Beveridge, yeah. William Beveridge.
The last names y'all choose. Beveridge.
Beveridge, yeah. But I mean,
William
Alcoholic
Beveridge.
You say that about but we got Churchill after Attlee. That's because we had a first past the post winner takes all style voting system that wasn't proportional. So there were two elections there was an election in 1950, and I think there was another one in 51. And in one of them, I'm pretty certain it was the 1951 one, Labour won something like 49.94% of the vote, but they only won a minority of the seats in Parliament, right? Because they didn't have a proportional system. And the Labour Party has never really supported proportional representation, because the Labour Party really is like three parties in one. And it's a bit like in the United States. Yeah. Obviously, completely different situation. European style political parties, from what I gather, are essentially illegal in the United States.
Yeah, we're not
associations and everything like that, right?
Yeah,
but
our parties are basically the same, except the Democrats don't want to, like, in most cases, don't want to kick every single migrant out of the country and remove trans people from public life. Yeah. The mainstream Republicans do. Like,
we've got the Labour Party up for that now as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like people call y'all Turf Island for a reason. Like, why is transphobia? Why is transphobia like so prevalent in the UK?
I think it largely comes from a specific interpretation of like second wave feminism, I believe, but I could be totally wrong. I'm not an expert on that stuff.
Yeah. Like a whole bio.
It's particularly virulent. We've got comrades in an organisation in your party called the Trans Liberation Group, which is a class struggle organisation, but aiming to cohere trans people on a class basis. And have you ever heard of Mumsnet?
Ever heard of what?
Mumsnet.
No, I haven't. What's that?
Mumsnet is like this website that was originally like set up for like mothers in the UK to like discuss stuff, but it's just become like a right-wing cesspit for like extremely sort of like transphobic people, and from what I can gather, but I may be wrong, sort of bigots more widely. They described the Trans Liberation Group as being a men's rights organisation.
Holy shit.
Bollocks, right? That's the kind of thing that comes out. And we've got, there's TERFs on the left. Like, as well. So, I mean, it's quite odd. Like, I think your average person on the street genuinely couldn't care less.
Yeah,
like
that's how it is. That's how it is in the United States. Like,
yeah, we just get on with your life. I think that's
like nine times out of 10, you walk up to an average working person and they'll be like, you know what? If it makes them happy, if that's what they want to do, I don't fucking care. Like, I've got like, this is an average fucking person. Like, people are acting like this is like this is something that is like Trump is trying to portray this, and all these other reactionaries are trying to. This is the more like no, they're using it as a distraction to rile up these social reactionaries who have a lot of money, who have control over churches, who have control over school boards. Ron DeSantis in Florida is particularly like the vanguard of this whole reactionary movement, And like an average working class person, regardless of race or ethnicity, like, you know what? Like, if they want to, let them use the fucking bathroom. Who cares? If they want to play in sports, who cares? Like, like these people, like, why are you targeting these people just because, like,
so you can be like, don't look at us, look at them.
Yeah.
They're the root
Meantime,
of all, not us fucking exploiting you and making your life a misery. It's them. It's them poor fucking oppressed people over there. They're the ones you need to be blaming.
Yeah. Meantime, you've got this fucker. You got the president of the United States all over the fucking Epstein files. He's deleted every picture of him that's in there, trying to make Bill Clinton look like all you motherfuckers were down there. All you motherfuckers need to get it.
Oh, yeah. No. You had like a whole fucking like nonce swing, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Our government is run by nonsense.
Yeah.
That's who runs this fucking thing. I mean, y'all had what was that fucking Prince Andrew or whatever? He was all wrapped up in that shit. And then the Queen,
he's the Andrew formerly known as Prince now.
Because I think the Queen stripped him of all his shit, didn't she?
No. The King did. His brother stripped him because he was the Queen's favorite child.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah. And but you know, the King's now still keeping him in his life of luxury, but he's paying it out of his own pocket. So
it was sausage fingers that pardoned him.
Yeah. I'm pretty certain, like those sausage fingers, I'm pretty certain looking at them that he's probably got like heart disease or something, and that's led to a
or goat or something because that's water retention.
Yeah, that's water retention. Yeah. So he could have a large heart or something like that, which is sad.
Yeah.
But
he's William. Yeah, William has probably measured himself for the fucking crown already. He probably shows up to his dad's room and like, Dad, are you alive? Are you still alive? Oh, bloody hell.
Oh, Father.
Will you please just die already? Will you please just expire? Like, what are you clinging to life for? Join Mom.
Oh, that's not nice. You know, everyone loved Diana in this country.
Everybody did, bro. Even
the pros, loved Diana.
Americans love. Like my mom loves her.
Blair called her the People's Princess.
Mm-hmm.
And
she was. Why? Because she was to the left of him.
She was very popular amongst the British public. Have you ever seen that film? Oh, what's it called? It's directed by Keith Allen. It was Americans. It was a film done. Oh God! It was something unlawful killing, something like that. Which was this film about like Diana's death and like linking it to the royal family, and that it was like
it's
conspiracy and everything like that. But
you think the Queen had it bumped off?
Well, they say it was Prince Philip, right? But then it came out that the documentary had been funded by Mohammed Al Fayed, who was obviously Dodi Fayed's dad. So it kind of lost credibility, but it got banned in the UK, and the British Film Board wouldn't give it a rating, so it then couldn't be shown in cinemas. And then mysteriously, it got leaked onto the internet.
Yeah, I'm really glad we don't have a royal family over here. Well, we do have one of your.
You've got Harry and Meghan, haven't you? So
y'all sent your fucking exile princes over, prince and princess, Duke and Duchess over here.
So, like, I don't think their son was born over here, but their daughter was born in the States, right?
Archie.
So technically, couldn't the daughter run for president one day?
She could.
They're going to do that. I guarantee that's
the great reunification.
Yeah, they got a long-term plan, right?
Far down on the in the line of succession and president of the United States.
Yeah, well, she'll have to give up her title, but that doesn't give up your line in the succession. But she'd have to give up her title.
Like there could be you could be a fucking bum living on the street, and if you're in a line of succession and something horrible happens, like they'll literally grab your ass and put you on the throne.
Yeah, it will be like I don't know, Lilibet 58, like 2058 or whatever. That's when she'll
Yeah,
be.
but see, they'll
Yeah.
never be on the throne because fucking William's kids are gonna start having like William's kids, and then you've got like they'll never be on the throne.
No. Because
You're not gonna.
they always have more than one kid. So you have an heir and you have a spare. Harry's the spare.
I've got Harry's
Harry's
book back here. It's the most whiny shit. Like I kind of feel sorry for the dude because like he lost his mom early age. He was thrust into the fucking limelight. Like he didn't have a normal fucking childhood. But like he's just so fucking whiny. Papa and Willie were so mean to me. They treated me
Do you
like
know
shit.
he had like he used to smoke weed and it got out into the press, into the Murdoch press, and they named him Harry Pothead.
Yeah, and then I'll never forget the whole fucking. He wore a Nazi outfit to a party, and now he's rebranded himself as the woke prince.
But I mean, the thing is like his great aunts were married to literal Nazis.
Yeah.
So when Prince Philip and the Queen got married, none of his siblings could come. None of his sisters could come because
I remember that. I remember that scene from The Crown when Churchill is talking to like young Elizabeth, and like Churchill is like, his name is really Prince Luxemburg, Wilsonberg, Apfelstrudel, Wiener Schnitzel of Greece, and also his sisters are married to prominent Nazis.
Yeah, no, I mean, the House of Windsor is only called the House of Windsor because during World War One, it was decided that obviously the Krauts were our enemy, so the royal family couldn't have a German name, right? So they changed it Saxe-Coburg Gotha to Windsor.
Like a lot of those people, like I think, like Mary of Teck and a bunch of like they were originally like their original language was German.
Yeah.
Like people think that, but they're still like if you trace there because like there's been so many incestuous intermarriages.
They were so inbred that like the cousins look like brothers. So if you look at there's photos of George V, the Kaiser, and Tsar Nicholas II, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that they were brothers, but they weren't. They were cousins, right? But because the gene pool was so small, because the gene pool was so, I mean, that was Queen Victoria's thing, right? That was her and Prince Albert's thing. That basically what they would do, they'd have a bunch of kids, and then they just marry them off to all the various different royal families in Europe, and that way they could exercise soft power.
Yep. And obviously still kind of failed because World War One ended up being a thing, but
did them all in. Do you know that the Kaiser was like pro-Hitler for a bit? But
and then
I'm not bringing you back, and then he became.
Yeah, he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to Hitler, being like, "I'm so glad that you are bringing back the German national spirit. Can you please restore me to my throne?" And Hitler was like, "You fucking idiot! 9! You're never coming back. You're going to die in exile. Stop asking. You lost us the first of all. Then you abdicated. Now you want to come back? Fuck you, man."
I mean, didn't Hitler was still just like an Austrian until like 1932, wasn't he? And they were like, well, we should probably. Hitler was an illegal immigrant. That should be.
Yeah. And then he lived in Bavaria, which is, if I recall correctly, like the rednecks of Germany.
Yeah, no, the part of Austria that he came from was coterminous with Bavaria, so Hitler had a Bavarian accent.
Yeah.
But then you've got like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's got like a country bumpkin accent in like Austrian terms, So when they released the Terminator in Germany, they had to get somebody else to dub his voice because people would have just laughed every time he spoke in Germany or in Austria because he had like a country bumpkin.
Yeah, it's like basically having somebody with a really thick Mississippi drawl.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what do you think of DSA? Like, what would you be your advice as a senior Labor Party apparatchik?
I was never a senior Labor Party apparatchik.
You gave a speech at their conference.
Yeah, what? So does that mean if you made a speech at the DSA's conference, you were a senior DSA apparatchik?
Yes.
No, it isn't. It means you're a fucking delegate. You're
What's your
representing the members. It doesn't
Nah.
make you an apparatchik. An apparatchik's a member of the bureaucracy or a member of parliament and their staff or something like that. I've always just been an ordinary rank and file member.
Okay,
I've
Mr.
never
Ordinary.
I've never aspired to hold public office or anything like that. I don't even want to be a councillor or anything
Yeah.
like that. It doesn't appeal to me. It really doesn't appeal to me. Like, I didn't get
You should
involved
come.
because
You should come to the United States and join DSA. You will be extremely popular just because of your accent alone. You're working class British.
I'd probably get elected to the NPC first time. Probably come
Yeah.
number one.
Oh my God, a working class British person. Come here. Oh my God, he sounds like a Peaky Blinders character. He's so adorable.
Well, I heard after I wrote those series of essays, like in the summer or whatever, the first one was called Towards a New Model Left Party, the case for a British DSA. And I had a friend who went to the DSA's convention, right? A British DSA.
Yeah, the guy you were trying to connect me with.
And apparently people were coming up to him and saying, "Do you know who Max Shanley is?" Which was just like absolutely fucking hilarious for me. He's messaging me being like, "People keep asking me if I know you."
You're the British ambassador to DSA.
Yeah, no. I mean, years ago, I did consider joining the DSA because there's nothing stopping me from like joining the DSA. But I thought people would think it was proper weird, so I didn't join the DSA.
It'd be funny trying to watch you like chair one of our meetings. Oi, point of order.
Well, no, it's because I take the position, right? And I'm sure you probably believe in the same ideal, right? That we're one movement the world over. Right? The socialist movement is an international movement, and it doesn't matter if I take the sort of like early second international position of it doesn't matter if you're a member of the German party, you're all like if you move to fucking Russia, you're part of the Russian party, or if you move to France, you're also part of the French party. Like they're different parties, but they're the same party. And I take a similar view to the DSA. Like, I am not a de jure DSA member, but I am a de facto DSA member.
Oh, okay. Well, I look forward to seeing more of
and
you.
I would consider it the same way. Like, if we actually manage to turn your party into something half decent, I would like DSA members to identify with our party as their party and comment on it and everything like that. Like I think that's a great tradition within the socialist movement.
Yeah, definitely.
You could be a member of the party in Spain, like de jure, but if you went to Germany, you were just a comrade. You were a member of the party.
I don't want to be a member of the Linke.
No, well, I don't think anyone really wants to be a member of the Linke. So they seem to be
the Zionists.
They seem to be crashing and burning right now.
Good.
Solidarity with Linksjugend, by the way, their youth section, who came out with a highly critical resolution on the party's position on.
I wouldn't be in nobody's fucking youth section. I'm 31 years old, mate.
No. I said solidarity with them because they passed a resolution highly critical of the party's position on on what's going on in Palestine. Very self-reflective, very critical, very anti-Zionist policy proposal, and seaweed snacks. And the German party responded by threatening to shut them down, cut their funding. Party bureaucrats briefed against them in the newspapers. MPs went on the telly to denounce them. Everything like that. So solidarity with their youth section. Fuck the link up. But yeah.
From my experience, like these organizations, like it's always a youth wing that is like always more radical than like big DSA or big Europe party. So yeah, the youth is always leading the way forward.
What's YDSA like then?
Huh?
What's YDSA like then?
Oh, YDSA is dope. They passed an anti-Zionist resolution before big DSA did. All the YDSA comrades that I've met. Well, for one, there's virtually like none of the writers' caucuses really have a presence in YDSA, so it's pretty left by default.
Well, because they're all old fucking NGO workers, aren't they?
The DSA writers, most of them are, or they're like they're like old election workers or something like that. So yeah. Like I said, there's material.
Would you consider them to be like liquidationists, like a liquidationist tendency?
Well, I would consider liquidationism to be like, okay, DSA basically needs to, like, as some people criticize us, like they basically call us a wing of the Democratic Party. That is like patently not true. But I would say that there are like some of the hardest writers in our organization. They do want to, in practice, like turn us into a wing of the Democratic Party. So yes, I would consider those types of people liquidationists, even if they're not theoretically liquidationists. In practice, like always, like giving way too much prestige or clout to continuing to remain attached to the Democratic Party, even though they criticize it. Yet in practice, you continue to draw us closer and closer and closer, like AOC and Serrano doing, drawing us closer and closer and closer into those Democratic Party ranks. Yes, I would definitely consider those people a type of soft liquidationists.
I mean, look, we had this discussion earlier, didn't we, about the fact that sort of parties of a European type membership associations are either practically illegal or impossible to really exist within the United States political system, right? So to that extent, I can understand why the DSA runs candidates on the Democrats' ballot line, right? I can understand that. Whether you agree with it or not, you can understand from a practical perspective why they do that, right? Because it allows you to have some political control over who stands with your backing. Whereas if the DSA was a registered political party, from my understanding, you would then have to have open primaries to select your candidates, so some Republican motherfucker could stand.
I have a question from chat. Ask the London guy who Nye Bevan was and what the principles of Bevanism were.
Okay, so Nye Bevan was a miner, like a coal miner, who ended up, he was the leading figure on the left wing of the Labour Party from the sort of late 30s through the 50s to the early 60s when he died. Fantastic orator. Welsh geezer. Was the Minister for Health. So he was the one that built the NHS, basically, the National Health Service. He seems like the figurehead of the Bevanite movement, which was sort of the leading left wing of there he is, of the Labour Party from sort of late 40s onwards till it was displaced by the Benites. The Bevanites were kind of state socialists. So they had this view that, you know, all the state, what socialists needed to do was just buy the entire economy, and then because it's owned by the state, it would be socialist. I mean, that's obviously not true, but that was their viewpoint. But basically, if you've been born in Britain since 1948, you know, it didn't cost your parents a penny. And the reason why it didn't cost your parents a penny was because of an Iron Bevan.
I think the comrade wanted me to bring him up, and I think the comrade wanted me to ask you about him, but because they're Welsh, they were like, "Yeah, you're not going to forget Wales.
He was a
not going to forget Wales.
He was a fantastic orator, right? He had a stammer, and he learned how to combat it by roaming around the Welsh valleys, climbing like big hills and mountains and stuff like that, reciting poetry, and that's how he got over his stammer. But he was a miners' leader. The miners got him selected as the Labour candidate, and then from there. But you know, the roots of the NHS in that sense originate from the area of Wales that he was from, because the Miners' Lodge set up I can't remember what it was called. It was called the Tregedere, which was the area health association or something like that. And that was free at the point of use. So, you know, anyone who lived in the various different pit villages or whatever, if they fell ill, you just went to the doctor. You showed your little miner's pass or whatever, you got treated. Anything you needed done.
Yeah, I heard it here. The Welsh mutual aid tradition invented the NHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comrades. I imagine the comrades sitting on their fucking.
It was
I imagine the comrades.
it was only really like a half done job, because the doctors were like resolutely against it, right? Because they were a bunch of, you know, petty bourgeois, self-employed people.
Yeah, they probably didn't want to be working with miners in the first place. Miners stink.
So this was when the NHS was formed, right? So Bevan had to do what is known as nigh stuffing their mouths with gold. Like, he just had to like give them a load of money, basically, and that's why
a bribe. Over here, we call that a bribe.
Yeah, he basically had to bribe them, and because the British Medical Association was dead against like the NHS being set up, and that's why now, like, Bevan's plan was he wanted to nationalise every medical institution in the country, right? But we still have quite a prominent private healthcare sector. But the thing is that everyone that works in the private healthcare sector, by and large, also works for the NHS. So when you have the likes of Wes Streeting, who's the current health secretary, being like, "Oh, we need to bring the private sector in to like solve the NHS's problems," all these people already work for the NHS.
I read somewhere that the NHS, like, the NHS was also like incredibly dependent on the Windrush generation. So was the like, because a lot of the nurses and some of the doctors that were in the NHS, they came from Jamaica. If you all don't know what the Windrush generation is, I know Max does. But basically, after the Blitz that we talked about earlier, like, they needed a shitload of labor because a lot of guys went over to the war, never came back. So they brought a lot of people from the West Indies, which were at the time British colonies, to the UK. It also played an immense role in British music. You had a lot of Calypsonians, Lord Kitchener, Lord Invader, a lot of people. That's what laid, like, if you're a dub fan, if you're a fan of grime, like a lot of those guys' grandparents came over during the Windrush generation. Same thing, two-tone ska. Like, you had immensely large amounts of black people that were moving to the UK, and they basically helped rebuild London and various other cities that had been bombed. And also, like, they played a major role in British transportation and the NHS, because a lot of the nurses were single women that came over on the Windrush. Why? Because life in the colonies kind of sucked. And many of these people, like, were incredibly nostalgic about, like, going back. It's like Britain is cold as shit. You had rationing, and there's like, it wasn't as bad as in the United States, where, like, if you went in a white bathroom, you were liable to be beaten up or hanged from a tree. But, like, you would have signs that say "No colored allowed."
No blacks, no dogs, no Irish.
Yeah,
I used to be in like the like guest houses, like B&B.
I guess you and me would have had to find other accommodation.
I would have just lied. I would have just said that my name was Smith or something like that. Yeah. I would have been like, "Yeah, don't worry, yeah."
I guess I would have just had to say. I guess I would have just had to say. I guess I would have just had to say I just spent the last 5 months in a coal mine.
Yeah, no, I've just got a really good tan. Like,
we'd have tan. You're lying. We'd have tan. We burn.
I went over to Spain for a couple of months. I got myself a nice tan.
You're lying. We don't tan. We burn.
But yeah, no. I mean, you're talking about like the influence of like West Indians on British culture and everything. Have you ever heard of Smiley culture?
Smiley culture.
So he was like a dance hall like DJ.
I thought you were talking about a Glasgow Smile,
London, who was the children of like West Indian immigrants, and he produced two. Well, he came out with two songs. One's Cockney Translation, right, where he compares like Cockney slang with West Indian slang. And then the other one's called Police Officer, which is about racial profiling. But these were like in the early 80s. And they had like massive cultural impact. And although it came from like a completely separate background to like where American hip hop's born out of, he's largely seen as a progenitor for British hip hop and British rap music. Yeah, you'd like him. He's good. And then in the early 2010s, he was the reason why the race riots occurred in 2010 all over the country. But one of the reasons, because by this point he was, like a yesterday man. Like most people didn't know about him or anything. And the police raided his house because apparently he was involved in like some cocaine ring or whatever. And he ended up stabbing himself in the heart.
Yeah.
During the raid, or at least that's the official story. And that, along with the death of Mark Duggan.
Mark Duggan is who I remember, and I particularly remember because this was right before y'all had the Olympics over there, and like seeing huge amounts of London on fire. Like a lot of people, are they still going to have the Olympics? But yeah, and this was.
I remember I used to work. I used to work at the London College of Communication, right, which is like a higher education institute in Elephant and Castle, which is in South London, right, and they shut the college down because the rioters were getting near. So, like, they just shut the college down, and we were all sent home.
Yeah,
and then they got the furthest the riots got to near me was they got to Sutton, which is like the next borough over from where I live. And Sutton's a bit unusual, right? This whole area is a bit unusual because where I live in Epsom, originally it had like a cluster of mental hospitals, and then during the 80s they got shut down, and all the nut jobs were brought into caring the community, they called it, right? Thatcher's scheme. So when I grew up, we had loads of local characters, right? They were called characters, but really they were just mentally ill people. It's very sad. But no one really bothered them. The locals sort of took care of them and whatnot. And made sure.
In the US, we have whole communities of characters because Reagan basically did the same thing that your Thatcher did, like shut down all the state asylums and basically just get out.
In Sutton, they had a geezer called the Wizard of Sutton. Right, look him up. Get an image of him up.
The Wizard of Sutton.
The Wizard of Sutton. Sutton.
Oh, he's a literal wizard.
He's a literal wizard. Get the image up for your viewers.
He looks like this guy would be like a saint in the 900s or something.
Yeah, right. Get the image up so your viewers can see it.
Aww.
Right, this is the Wizard of Sutton.
Conrad right? Pugsley, a.k.a. the Divine Grace Comrade, Lord Azaram of Draconia and Glorum.
Yeah. So when the riots got to Sutton, the Wizard was the one that stopped the rioters from rioting in Sutton, because all these fucking young people turned up ready to fucking tear Sutton town centre up and go looting and everything like that. And there was like a line of police, right? And all the kids were getting agitated and ready to, fight the old bill and whatnot. And then the fucking wizard appears and chants a spell and is like, "You shall not pass." And all the kids are like, "Well, we've got to respect the wizard," and just fucked off home. So that's why the riots. That's why the riots never got all the way to.
He's one of the characters.
But Sutton is also home of used to be home of a mental hospital, right? I can't remember what it's called, and that hospital was where the experiments that inspired MK Ultra took place. So, like, there was a mental hospital there, and there was a doctor who thought that he had this theory that he could cure schizophrenia by giving schizophrenics massive doses of LSD.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely very helpful for somebody that has schizophrenia.
Because he thought it would reset their brain. And then
that shit gives you, what are you typing? That shit can give you schizophrenia.
I know, right? So, but it was his research that inspired the CIA to do MK Ultra.
Yeah. Well, thanks. So once again, every bad thing always starts on your island.
Yeah. No, it's like, have you heard the idea that the Unabomber was an MK Ultra?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like during the movements, like I think they MK Ultra Huey Newton too, because like he was a drastically
Probably.
different. He was a drastically different. Like this guy was public enemy number one. And this, like, he came in, he went into prison as a convinced, solid revolutionary. He came out still a convinced, solid revolutionary, but he was also fucking crazy as hell. So yeah,
Yeah.
they did something. They did something to him there. Like they'll put shit in your food. They don't have to strap you down. They can put shit in your food. All types of other stuff. Anyways, we're running up on 2 hours. So is there anything that you want to close with besides when are you gonna start like wandering around doing wizard shit? It'd be cool. From what I've seen, you're already like a meme on the British left.
Well, apparently some people don't think I'm real. Some
What?
people think I'm like a fictional character who doesn't actually exist.
You're just a dude.
Couple of people think I'm a collective. Like people just like posting my name or whatever. But no,
You're literally just a regular ass working class British dude.
yeah, I'm just an ordinary geezer. So like
Geezer is what we call old men over here.
yeah,
Y'all
no,
call
I
regular
agree.
people geezers.
Yeah, just a man's a geezer.
Oh, okay. Well, we all have.
And
I have
if you're a
definitely
woman
received
and
it.
you drink, if you're a woman and like you drink pints and stuff, like pints of beer, you can
Huh.
get called a geezer bird.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. So you learn
So-
something new every day.
Okay.
Before I go, tell me something about St. Louis then. And did you grow up there, right?
I did. I was born and raised here.
So what was it like growing up in St. Louis?
It's a town just like any other. It's extremely segregated. Like there's literally a street called Delmar Boulevard. It divides like basically the black half of St. Louis City from like the multiracial, I guess, like mixed. Like there's black people that live south of Delmar too, but like the north side is like 99.97% black. So it's like Delmar is basically like a Berlin Wall. Like you've got $2 million mansions on one side, then you've got like rundown hovels on the other side. So that's pretty stark. It shocks the shit out of everybody that comes here. Yeah,
So
like
when
I
you
was.
were on so when you were on Dr. Phil, were you living in a white area?
I was. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, we moved out of that area like probably a year after that. But yeah, where I was living then it's called St. Charles County. So a lot of the white people that live out there are incredibly Republican. This was during Trump's first term. So incredibly Republican, like MAGA type people. A lot of those people, they moved out of the area that I was partly raised in, North County, which is pretty heavily black now. So they moved out of there because they wanted to get away from black people. I hated living out there. I would never ever live in St. Charles County again. But yes, that's a pretty heavily white and socially and politically reactionary area. That was actually living out there was actually the first time I ever heard I heard a racial slur come out of a white man's mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because you've always lived in a black area before that, then.
I lived in like I wouldn't say like necessarily an all black area, but like there were quite a few black people like in the parts of town that I was raised in.
People are less. So people were less like
white people that came to those areas knew how to behave. Whereas in
So it was your time living in St. Charles County that convinced you of cracker control then?
I've been like, I was raised on Malcolm X speeches and like a lot of like radical black national stuff like that. I've always been a firm believer in cracker control. But living there definitely helped solidify it, yes.
Yeah, correct.
It was an experience. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I would never, ever, ever live in an area like that again. I really had I was just staying with my family because like I was in college at the time and I didn't want to have to work and like maintain an apartment and all that shit. But yeah,
what did you study? What did you study in college? What did you study in college?
I have a bachelor's degree in African American studies with a double major in political science.
Very good. And what do you do now?
Yeah. What do I do now?
Yeah.
I actually just got a new job. I am going to be working at a senior living complex.
Oh,
what were you expecting me to say, teacher?
No.
Yeah. If you saw me on the street, what job would you think I do?
I don't know. I was a bit disappointed to learn that you didn't own like a gun shop or something like that. Like,
Own a gun
you know,
shop.
yeah,
You're
where
trying
it's
to
your
you're trying to
friends and stuff.
you're trying to categorize. Do you have any idea how much shit you have to go through to be able to open up legally a gun shop in the United States? Like it's not like RuneScape. I'm just going to set up a market stall with a bunch of guns for sale.
All I remember from Florida when I was a kid, right, is you would go into Walmart and they'd be selling eggs and milk and toys and stuff like that. And then you'd sort of wander along a bit and there'd be a whole section where they'd have fucking rifles up on the wall and everything like that.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was easy.
Yeah, that's the South for you, buddy. You went to Disney. But that's the South for you.
Kissing me.
Missouri, yeah. The part of the country that I live in, it's like certain parts of it definitely are southern. Like the Boot Heel, they grow cotton down there, the Ozarks. But like you get up to where I am, St. Louis, Kansas City, Columbia, like you're in like this weird, bizarro world between North and South. The South, St. Louis never went for the Confederacy in the Civil War. We were a Union city, but John Brown out towards Kansas City and Kansas, like there were like guerrilla wars between slave owners and abolitionists out there. Yeah, St. Louis was a firmly Union city. We had a lot of German immigrants here who were like not the most staunch of abolitionists, but a lot of them had experience in the 48 revolutions for democracy. So yeah, those people were pretty anti-slavery on moral reasons.
Interesting.
So what do you do, Max?
Nothing at the moment.
A dole bludger. Lovely. Typical commie. I'm joking. So did you go to university, as you people say?
So I left school with like barely any qualifications. Like we have GCSEs. That's what you do when you're like 16. I've got 3 of them.
How many do you need to? How many do you need to go to university?
Oh well, then you have to do A levels, but you can't do A levels unless you've got 4 GCSEs.
Oh.
So I went off and I trained to be a computer technician.
Okay.
Because I'm a nerd. So
you're basically an organic intellectual.
If you want to call it that, yeah. Like. I mean, I did go to. I went to when I was like 22. I went to a place called Ruskin College, which is in Oxford, which was like set up by socialists to provide like a university education for proles. Like Nye Bevan went there, Attlee taught there.
So it was set up for people like you.
Yeah, but I was like suffering from like undiagnosed bipolar type 1 at the time. So like I just I ended up dropping out basically. I got so depressed that I wasn't leaving my room or anything like that. So
okay. Mental health is real. And one thing that I tell comrades that are like struggling with mental health is that like it's not your fault. Like the society like we have it's a chemical imbalance.
Yeah, no, I remember years ago Leo Panich telling me that he had a conversation with Andre Gores where they had like a whole discussion on like what mental illness actually was, right? Because obviously at the time, we're still this. I think this conversation was in like the 90s or something like that, and it was still seen as like a moral failing, like it's something to do with you. Right, and Andre Gores was like, no. It's just a chemical imbalance in the brain. There's nothing you can do about it. It just happens.
And that's true. Like you're like people that have mental health struggles. Like you're not weak. You're not less than. You're not. Like that's this whole it's this whole like capitalist culture of you must be 100% like on the like no. You look at a lot of these people that are in power, they don't have this shit together either. And like the whole concept of one shit together is a capitalist concept anyways. So but yes, you're valid. So Anything else you want to say to the 610 viewers of this discussion?
Big up BRG, big up the DSA, big up the Trans Liberation Group, and big up DSYP. Solidarity, everyone.
Thank you. Big up everything that Max is involved with. Anyways, all power to the people. Thank you, Max.
That's all right. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, I agree.